Looking back, maybe we should have known what was coming to John. It seems like some things are too good to keep. It's hard to love someone so much, even though oddly enough, you may have never even met them, but they brought so much happiness and joy to your life. This is what John Candy did and still does to so many people. We have our favorite moments of John that we share with our loved ones. Maybe it's a whole movie or just a small part that meant so much to you. Or it could just be a look that we'll always remember. John's career has become legend and is still thriving now. He's in the hands of a new generation today that seems to find their new favorite uncle that they can't get enough of. And that's what leads us into the story of John Candy's life, career, and death. It might sound unbelievable to say, but when you dig into John's life, you don't see someone who took his life for granted. John is the husband and father you want to see for someone who's so lovable and looks like a hero. He loves his wife, his kids, and so thankful for everything he has. He's a true homebody. Early on in John's life, he starts his footprints of his career at Second City, crafting his art and finding characters. In love with his passion, but he will also find love with something else. His wife till the end, Rosemary. The years would be somewhat of a fairy tale story, it would seem. John will say in many interviews, he's the luckiest guy in the world. John has many years enjoying his children and building a life for them and with them. And while doing all this, John's career is non-stop. Even when he has a movie that doesn't get the attention it should, it's still loved in years to come by John's fans. Almost every interview John does, he brings up his kids, his wife, something to do with his family. He pushes this narrative right into his career as well. John said that when he was making Uncle Buck, that he treated the kids like they were his own, caring for them in ways that he would care for his own children, how they individually needed it. From just being young children to young adults acting out, needing his help, when they themselves were just really lost, but continuing to show guidance and love. As John is making big hit movies, raising his children, and keeping his marriage together, it seems that John is taking care of everyone, except himself. John was very open about his life, and let it be known that he suffered from bad anxiety that led to random panic attacks. As John is becoming older, hitting his 40s, he's on top of the world, but John has done and continued to have elements in his life that have done slow damage to him. John enjoys smoking cigarettes, having a drink. It's said around the circuit that John had one too many drinks every now and then. It more than likely played right into his anxiety, helping him control it. It's known that in John's family, he has heart problems that have been passed down from his family. Heart conditions would always be something that was in the background of John's life. His father died at the age of 35 unexpectedly to heart conditions, leaving John's mother a widow and financially scared. But as John becomes older, he himself will have heart problems, much like his father. It's said and known to friends and family around John that it was something that he talked about quite a bit. His heart truly scared him, and John himself would not help the situation when it came to indulgence in life. Like most actors in the 1970s and 80s, John partakes in certain elements. It's not a secret that John was in and around a cocaine group of friends, using it to keep going. When John sees his friend pass away, John Belushi, John says that it does scare him. It makes him think about his life, his family, his career, what's important. He sees someone doing the things that he was doing, maybe not as hard, not as rough, and that person just lost their life to it. John took the death of Belushi very hard. The two met in Second City, would come up together, and would have trust in one another. It's said that when Belushi died, it sent John in a deep, deep depression, laying around his house for weeks. When we take the mixture of time, bad habits, of smoking, drug use, drinking, large calorie intake, things that just build up slowly, over time, they slowly chisel away at John's life, who was already genetically dealing with heart problems. But John is about to take on the biggest endeavor of his life. There's a part of John's life that many don't know about. John is a huge fan of sports, but not just a regular fan. John wants to be a part of the team. John is seen at many hockey games, just in the crowd, cheering, chanting, getting people going. Being from Canada, John is a huge hockey fan, and it shows throughout his career. In 1991, the Toronto Argonauts football team was purchased by John Candy, Wayne Gretzky, and Bruce McNall. The news would break in February of 1991. They bought the team for $5 million. When John became part owner of the team, John is beyond excited. He's telling everyone, friends, family, the city of Toronto, he's on top of the world with his new venture in life. Many of his friends think it's hilarious that John has done this, and they help him out as much as they can promoting with him. Now with a career that keeps demanding on both sides of acting and running a football team, John is busier and stressed more now. With all of this on his shoulders, in 1991 alone, John will have 5 movies that will come out, with him starring in them or just small parts, and while also working on a few projects that year in 1991. It's an extremely busy year for John, and it does not slow down. John is flying all over, promoting the team, radio shows, TV shows, and still promoting movies he's in as well. But even if he's there to promote a film, he's still going to talk about his football team. In 1991, from literally making the Argonauts a winning championship team that year, the story is so unbelievable, it sounds like a movie itself. John's life is nearing the end. He has many different roles, from being the lead in big movies to just playing small parts that seem to take over the whole movie. With all of John's movies wrapped up, there's one that he was asked to do from a friend named Dan Aykroyd. Dan would ask the director of Ghostbusters if Candy could be in the movie. The director of Ghostbusters, Ivan Reitman, would call John and ask him personally about a part in the movie if he was interested. He asked John, "How do you feel about playing a nosy neighbor in this movie called Ghostbusters, who has a pretty significant part in the whole role?" The neighbor's a bit nosy and odd, but when John learned more about the character, he simply said he wasn't interested. He just didn't get the role. John said, "Well, maybe if I played him as a German guy that had a bunch of German shepherds." But John would turn the role down, and Rick Morris would take the part of the nosy neighbor. It's funny how life takes turns, but like most movies, there's always a sad part. Even towards the end of John's career, he still had big movies come out, but something would shift in John's life. Something that made John so happy at one point was now giving him panic attacks, and many think had a direct part in his death. After 1991, the team will start to lose money rapidly. Investors will grow concerned. John is capped at $1 million to spend on the team, and he says he's already hit that, well into the early stages, and they're concerned about how much money they're losing. John finds out, not in the best way, that the team is being sold behind his back. He's mad and not just willing to sell the team. Going into 1994, John is filming his last movie he will ever work on, Wagons East. It's known that John does not want to make the film, but due to prior contracts and obligations, he has no choice but to do the film. John is also in a financial situation where he's lost money from his football team and getting his face back out in the film world. But it's no secret, John was not crazy about the script. While on the set of the film, John is the heaviest and stressed he's ever been. Durango, New Mexico was the filming location of the film. In the very early stages of John filming, he tells a few friends this would be his last film for a while. John just wanted to go home. He wanted to be with his wife and kids. He was a homebody. John said he wanted to get his health back on track, even bringing his own chef along with him. The plan for bringing along the chef was for John to have good, healthy meals and stay somewhat on track. It's now March in Durango, New Mexico. The days are extremely hot. The set is miserable for John. John is said to be around 375 pounds and in pain with his joints for long filming days. But as John gets deeper into the film and off schedule, his eating habits become bad again. The last day of John's life is very long for him. It's March 3rd of 1994. He spends the whole day filming, and on that last day, John has a hard day shooting. There's a scene where John keeps getting thrown through a table. By the end of it, John is tired and beat up. John would finish his last day of filming late into the night. He would go back to his suite, going in to take a shower, and having his last meal ever. John ate a big bowl of spaghetti. After his meal, John was just trying to relax. He would talk to the guard, telling him he was just so tired. He just missed his family and wanted to go home. John eventually calls it a night and goes to his bed, lays down, covers himself up, and falls asleep. Somewhere late into the night, into the early morning, John will awake to having a heart attack. On March 4th, in the morning, John's bodyguard will come knocking. John has not woken up and he's missed his 8 o'clock call time on set. When the bodyguard enters the room, he sees John in a weird position on the bed. He runs over. He sees John half in the bed and half out of the bed, as though John tried to stand up but fell back down. John just didn't die in his sleep. He awoke in pain. He was having a heart attack in the dark, trying to get himself out of bed for help. He just didn't make it. The doctor for the movie would arrive and confirm that John had passed away in the night. John finished 2/3 of the movie, just having a few days left to shoot. Soon after this, John's body will be flown back to LA. He will have a funeral set for a king. John's family and friends will all be together, grieving and saying their last goodbyes, telling stories of John. It's sad how we see John leave this world. He's here for such a short time. You can see that John wasn't done with life. He had many goals and ideas that he still wanted to accomplish. But what John did accomplish while he was here, in just this short time. John has had a wonderful marriage, keeping it together through all his fame and time away from home, raising 2 children, having a career that's very successful, with acting and directing, and taking on new business opportunities. But what we have now of John we keep safe and cherish. It's pretty safe to say that John will continue to inspire generations, making them laugh and see real humor from a wonderful person. Long live the legend, John Candy.